All right, displacements. Gosh, this has got to be lesson 4 on displacements. So we're actually going to be doing water. So we're going to start by having you make a new map, and I would like you to make a skybox around your displacement. So however you want to go about that, watch the displacement video if you need to. We're just going to build a massive, huge skybox that goes around our entire displacement. So you'll notice my skybox, I didn't even worry about a ground texture because I've got a displacement floating in the middle of it here. All right. So there's 2 steps that I need you to do before you make the water. I need you to make a skybox, and then I need you to make a nice high resolution displacement that has an area for like a lake and a river, and kind of just fly you around. I didn't do anything particularly special. I just made like a river outlet here, and then I've kind of got a lake body right here. Nothing super fancy. You can obviously go back and redo this as many times as you'd like to get the the kind of look that you're going for. Here's what mine looks like from the front and side. This is obviously the river here. This is the lake. All right. So it's important that we have a skybox with no leaks. So I just made a box around my displacement. I put sky texture on it. If you don't remember how to do that, go back and look at our video on how to do a skybox. Then I made a displacement I just did a 5x5 grid just like I did yesterday to make me a really nice high resolution displacement. And now we're going to go ahead and get to water. So pause the video right here, make a skybox, make a displacement with a lake and a river, and then come back and finish up the video. All right, I assume you're back. So water is going to start as a brush. So what I want to do here is I'm going to take my texture tool and I want to search for that no draw texture. Okay? So that's step 1. I'm going to go to my texture tool. I'm going to click browse, type in no draw, double click it, and then I'm just going to shut that, okay? Because I want this box to have no draw on it, the box that I'm about to create. Then I'm going to go to my block tool, and I'm going to create a box that encompasses all the water on the map. Now the water, we can only have a single plane of water when we're using expensive, pretty water on the map. So we can't have water at different levels. We can't have water angled. It's got to be flat. So for most maps, we're going to do a single large box that pretty much takes up all the water on the map. Now the box is going to extend into parts of your map that the player can't see. So if you look at my map here, there's this giant no draw box underneath. It's all over the place. Okay? But the main thing is it's filling my area here where I want the water. Now I'm going to take that box, and if I raise or lower that box, I can change the level of the water. And that's why I put no draw on it, because it makes it really easy for me to see it. It actually needs no draw on all of its sides. So sort of 2 things that we were doing there. We were covering all the sides with no draw, but it also makes it really easy for me to see where the water is going to be. Okay, so here's my lake, and then my river kind of just goes off and around this corner here. Alright, so I'm going to do that again just for the sake of anybody who may have missed it. So the 2 steps before I can make the water, I made a skybox, and remember it's nice and sealed, all the edges and corners are sealed. I covered that skybox with my skybox texture, just a generic skybox, not 2D skybox, not any of the others. It's this one right here. It's called Skybox. And if you scroll down in your textures, it's all the way at the bottom. Okay? And we have a whole lesson on it. You can go back and watch it if you forgot how to do it. So I created my skybox. Then I created a really nice landscape or displacement. And I made sure there's an area for a lake, and I made a little river that kind of goes off to the side here. Okay. So once I've done those two steps, I'm going to go to my texture tool. I would like to browse. I want to find my no draw texture. Double click it. Close this up so I have no draw. Go to my block tool. I'm going to create a great big block. And you'll notice this is the bottom of my lake down here. So this box, it has to go all the way down here. It has to encompass the entire volume of where I need the water to be. So this is going to be a big box. So you have to be kind of careful, where the player can see, where the player can't see, because this water is going to extend into a whole bunch of different parts of the map. Okay, so I made this huge, massive box. I press enter, and it's covered in no draw, so now it shows up nice and yellow. Now I can just raise or lower this box to adjust my water level. So I'm going to go to my selection tool, and I'm going to lower this a bit because that's too high for me. I want it to be like right there. Okay, so the yellow is what the player is going to see as water, and then there's all this other parts here that the player is not going to see. All right, next part. Take your texture selection tool, your texture application tool, click on it, click on the top of the water, okay? Just left click right on the top of the water. Go to browse. In your filter, type in water, and then go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom of the list of waters here. Because I've got a bunch of different materials from like Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, some of my waters don't work. They don't work in Half-Life. So if you get a water that doesn't work, just try another one. There are several that work. I've noticed some of the Left 4 Dead waters don't work. So what I'm going to do is when I click on these, just click one time, and I'm looking at the name of the water right here. So like this is called Nature Water Tunnel 01 DX8. So that's a DirectX 8 water tunnel 01, so it's probably from one of the Half-Life levels. If you click on some of these other ones, it'll say like cheap. What that is like a low resolution water. I don't want cheap water. Sometimes they'll say like beneath. Let me see if I can find one. Here we go. So riverbed beneath DX8. So I don't want to use the beneath waters. You want the ones that don't say cheap or beneath. So like if there's a riverbed beneath, that means if I keep clicking through, I will find a water that says riverbed 02. So try a few. There are several that work. I'm not going to go through and tell you every single one of them because I honestly don't know. I have so many waters in here from Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 that I don't know which ones of these are the ones that work and which ones don't. I'm just going to pick one here. I'm going to do Water Tunnels 01. Looks good to me. Double click, click apply, and then I will see the water. Now this sometimes happens. It disappeared. That doesn't mean it's not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and run this. File, run map, make sure everything is set to normal. Click OK. And here's my game came up. And let's see if it worked. There it is. The water worked. Okay, make sure you put a player start, info player start, otherwise you'll start in the center of the map. But there's the water, and it automatically knows it's water. It's got its fog and bubbles. the water locomotion is built in, so I'm swimming and sinking. I can't remember if you can drown or not. One of you guys can try that out. I think you have to have your HEV suit before the game acknowledges that you can drown. So here's the water. I'm going to go ahead and quit. Don't save. Alright, so the water's pretty simple. The main thing you got to remember is that the water has to have no draw on all the sides except for the top. And we don't want any of the no draw exposed to the player. So you've got to make sure you position this box in such a way that it takes up all the water volume in the map, but the player isn't able to see like these no draw edges. Alright? And then once you've got that on there, then you just click on your texture tool, select the top only, browse, filter by the word water, scroll to the bottom, and
this is an all call for, actually last call for your chicken. If you signed up to pick up your chicken, please come to the curb center.
They're giving away chicken, so you guys probably just heard that. There we go. So I tried a different one. Same thing. It didn't work. It didn't show, but I'm going to go ahead and run it anyway. See what it looks like. And let's have a look. Yeah, that one worked. So there's a bunch of different varieties of water. And this one actually does not, this one's broken, so I wouldn't use whatever this one was. You can see that it doesn't animate on the top, and when I swim in it, it's messed up. So you might have to go through a few. This is probably a scenery water more than anything. It's not used for the player to jump in it. So that is an ugly water there. So I would not use urban sewage. All right? So the best of advice I can give you, make sure you've got no draw on all sides and save your map. Test a few different water materials or textures. You'll find a few that work. Half-Life probably has about a half dozen that work. For your screenshot, what I want is I would prefer an in-game screenshot if you can do it with your phone. If not, a picture in the editor is fine, but make sure you have the water selected so I can see that you actually have the water in here. Just don't send me a picture of an invisible block of water. But if you can get an in-game screenshot with your phone, that would be the best. I'd like a lake, little river outlet going off to the side. And then the next thing we're going to do is put in some trees and stuff in the lesson tomorrow, and I'll show you how to handle things like reflections and the boat and all that stuff. So screenshot today is a lake with a nice displacement terrain. Don't forget to put a player start in, an info player start, so you can actually run around, swim, and all that stuff. And that's it. If you don't remember how to do a skybox, look back on the YouTube channel. There's a video on that. The displacement is the lesson from yesterday, and today is just how to add a box of water. It's pretty simple. It's a box, no draw, water on the top, and that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.